大家好，我係 Hoop Scholar Steven。早前喺 NBA Skills Trainer J-Law 嘅 Instagram， 佢同 White Iverson one-on-one 嘅片段留言當中，前 NBA 球星 Gilbert Arenas 表示呢一球走步。當時我就喺 Gilbert Arenas 嘅留言下邊咧，就同佢講應該係冇走步嘅。Gilbert Arenas 喺睇到我嘅留言之後咧，更加主動 private message 我，同我一齊去探討呢個問題。我哋一齊睇下。而喺 Hoop Scholar Instagram 嘅一段訓練片段當中咧，都有同樣嘅情況。睇完之後，大家可能有唔同意見，而我今日就集合咗各方面嘅睇法，包括前 NBA 球員、NBA trainers， 仲會根據唔同嘅比賽球例同大家解開呢一個爭論多年嘅問題。
Jigger.
Okay, so I'm coming this way.
She showed the ball. The ball is not touchdown. That's a pump fake, right?
He gonna jump.
I jump. I step.
That's
Look.
not a travel. That's not a travel.
At home, if you're a
Maybe
post player.
I'm Yerwin.
Once you establish your post, you
Yerwin.
cannot move
I'm
your
Yerwin.
pivot.
Oh, wait.
You can do all this. You can do the hub, you can give me all this.
And one.
Oh,
Foul
yeah.
on the arm.
Picking
It's
up
like
the
LeBron,
pivot
two
is
shots.
a walk. You're walking if you pick up your pivot.
聽完 KG 講，我哋又聽下 Carmelo 同佢嘅 trainer 有咩睇法。
That's a travel.
It's not a travel, man.
That's a travel.
It's not.
You can lift up your pivot before you can't put that back down. Back. You can pick it up. You cannot do that.
Can't do that. I can do that.
Before you can't put it back down.
I'm telling you.
Craig, that's a travel.
It's not a travel, man.
It's not.
It's not a travel.
It's not.
It's not a travel.
You can't put it back down. You gotta jump off 2 feet. It's like this. You can't do this. You can't go.
相信大家都有自己嘅睇法。話走步嘅朋友咧，普遍都係認為中樞足，即係我哋嘅重心腳，唔能夠喐或者離地嘅。如果要離地，一定要雙腳同時起跳，否則就係走步。呢一種雙腳起跳嘅 step through 或者 reverse pivot 係好常見，相信大家都冇異議。但係如果 pivot foot 離地之後以 non pivot 起跳咧，喺呢一度我要同大家講解一個有關 pivot 經常被普羅大眾誤解嘅觀念。普遍人認為中樞足即係我哋嘅重心腳，正常嘅情況之下咧唔能夠離地，要拍波之後咧先可以離地。呢個觀念本身冇問題，但係呢個觀念咧其實不適用於我哋喺度討論緊嘅 step through 走步問題上。喺搞清咗真相之前，我要先同大家解釋。等我哋一齊睇下球例。首先我哋睇下 FIBA 2020年最新版本喺走步為例方面嘅內容咧，同2018年版係一樣嘅。點解要對比2018年版呢？因為為咗更加準確去了解球例，我哋揾咗香港籃總2018年官方中文翻譯版，等大家以中文咧更加準確理解。我哋都知道，當波喺手嘅時候，我哋可以拍、傳、射。而啱啱提及過有關中樞足喺運球之前唔能夠離地嘅觀念咧，就係出於呢一例。但係細節嚟啦，要留意呢一例咧，只係適用於拍波嘅時候。咁傳波同埋射波咧，請留意以下呢一例。呢度都好清楚咁講明，持球嘅時候，中樞足係可以離地，但波必須喺雙腳落地之前咧傳俾人或者射咗去。然後我哋再睇下 NBA 甚至 NCAA 嘅球例，當中都同樣講明，持球嘅時候咧，中樞足係可以離地，但波必須喺雙腳落地之前傳咗去或者射咗佢。所以話我哋要睇最基本持球走步嘅問題咧，可以分為兩方面，一就係睇拍波嗰陣，二就係睇傳波同埋射波嗰陣。其實我哋可以想像一下，如果真係好似傳聞所講咁，中樞足、重心腳喺收波或者接波之後咧，都唔能夠離地，咁基本上我哋連普通嘅上籃咧都做唔到噶啦，因為大家都知道收波之後踩嘅第一步咧就係中樞足。如果中樞足唔能夠離地，咁咪即係基本上所有1、2步嘅上籃都係走步。又或者係 Dirk 嘅單腳 fade away，佢哋收波 fade away 嘅時候，重心腳的確係離地， 但係喺雙腳落地之前呢，都已經起手，所以唔算走步。所以按照多方面嘅球例，中樞足係可以離地去傳波或者射波嘅。然後等我哋翻去一開始嗰陣嘅嗰兩段片，睇下有冇走步。如果以 jump stop 去完成拍波，呢一步呢，淨係 gain 緊 control， 係第0步。jump stop 雙腳同時落地係第1步，可以揀重心腳。如果選擇咗喐右腳，左腳呢自然變成重心腳。右腳踩好之後呢，成為第2步，然後重心腳左腳離地，以右腳起跳。雙腳喺落地之前呢，波已經射咗出去，所以冇走步。咁如果以 1-2 step 去收波呢？例如呢一球收波嘅時候，左腳先落地，然後到右腳，所以左腳已經成為重心腳，即係第1步；右腳就係第2步。右腳係非重心腳，所以可以隨意喐動。踏好之後，重心腳左腳離地，以右腳起跳。雙腳喺落地之前呢，波已經出手，所以冇走步。我哋啱啱睇嘅呢啲情況呢，都係拍波之後。依家我哋翻去 KG 嘅嗰段片，如果接波之後唔拍波呢？其實拍唔拍波，只要按照頭先所解釋嘅規例咁睇咧就可以啦。呢一球 Candace 佢先喐左腳，右腳自然成為重心腳，然後佢冇拍波，佢直接左腳 step through， 右腳重心腳離地，以左腳起跳。根據球例唔算走步。Rudy Gobert 呢一球有冇走步呢？呢一球 Rudy Gobert 接波之後，先喐右腳，左腳自然成為重心腳，然後以右腳踏第2步，以右腳起跳，重心腳左腳離地，波喺雙腳落地之前已經離手，所以冇走步。然後我哋再睇下一啲喺 NBA 入邊嘅例子。而我喺同前 NBA 球員 Gilbert Arenas 嘅 IGDM 討論當中，我 send 咗唔少嘅片同埋球例俾佢睇，去證明呢一球係冇走步。最後佢亦都俾我說服咗，認為喺 J-Law IG 上面嗰一段片嗰一球咧係冇走步。最後大家覺得 Kobe 呢一球 step back 再 step through 有冇走步呢？留言話俾我知。Like、subscribe， 撳個啷啷開 notification，follow Hoop Scholar 嘅 Facebook、Instagram。下次見。